The only affordable cities left in America. Man, like, it seems from what I've, heard about America, you guys are going through a very similar thing to what we are here, where it feels like life is just becoming more and more expensive. The cost of groceries, petrol, gas, keeping the lights on, getting around, buying stuff is just going up, and salaries just aren't keeping up, at least here in the UK. I saw something the other day. In 2002, the average property price in the UK was £76,000. Average salary was like 25k, whereas now the average salary is 33k, but the average property price is £270,000. So it's just, the gap is just getting so big. And it made me think, if I was to move to America, where would be the smartest choice? From what I've heard, Texas is very affordable, but it seems like Texas has had a massive influx of people from neighboring states, which has driven the prices up even in Texas. So, where are the affordable cities in America nowadays?
I moved, Nick. Nothing's affordable anymore in America. At least the place is worth moving to, right? And to that I say, well, that's not true. There's a lot of places you can go. You just got to know where to look. So I'm going to go through all the states, and I'm going to tell you which cities you can afford to move to. I'm only going to focus on the ones that are worth talking about, because nobody wants to move to middle of nowhere Nebraska, right? So get out your Zillow and your pocketbooks. We're going to look at actual affordable places that you could move to right now.
Let's go.
In like 10 seconds.
And it's actually a good point, because there's obviously places like middle of nowhere Nebraska, like you just said, Nebraska, where you could probably buy a place for, I don't know, 30, 40K, buy a house. But, are there a lot of good jobs there? Maybe, I don't know, but I would have thought probably not, compared to a city like, Austin or Houston or Dallas.
All right, so here we go. Alabama. Now, I was down there a couple of springs ago. There's a lot of super cheap here, but where would you want to go? Well, a few areas come to mind. Huntsville's wonderful, and home prices there are still about $300K.
$300K.
Totally great place with lots of jobs, and it's safe.
Okay.
Muscle Shoals is a super cool place, and houses there are in the $250,000 range. Look at this downtown, right? The only other place I could recommend in Alabama is down here south of Mobile. Daphne, Fairhope, kind of down there.
I mean,
that's all
area
really
looks
nice.
alright.
And you can retire down there in a house for $330,000. Moving on, we come to...
Wow, the backdrop here is stunning. This is the thing about Alaska. Visually, it looks really pretty.
Alaska. Well, no one's moving there. Arizona's not very affordable anymore. That's because California people ruined it. And the places that you have the dough for ain't worth moving to.
Plus, I've heard Arizona gets really, really hot, doesn't it? Like, well over 100 degrees in the summer.
For the most part. Arkansas. Now, here we go. Now, we were down there a couple years ago, and I was really impressed with the quality of life down there.
Okay.
Now, if you want mountain living, far away from everyone, and your kids won't hate you for dragging them out into the middle of nowhere, Mountain Home's a nice place. You can get a big old chunk of land out here for cheap. Stuff like this is in the high 290s. Looks just like anywhere else, huh? Wouldn't even know you were in Arkansas. Nice new homes for the win. But if you need to be near a big city, Northwest Arkansas is the shiznit right now.
Yeah, if I was to move to America, for sure, I'd need to have a big city nearby. Just because, A, the jobs, B, the creature comforts that you get in a big city, and C, because, I've lived in a city all my life, and that's the only thing I'm used to.
This whole area here from Bentonville all the way down to Fayetteville is booming right now. Tons of stuff to do. It's really safe and clean, and everyone there loves it. There's a big college nearby, a bunch of jobs, but you better get there fast.
Nice
It's
house.
going to be out of reach soon, because word is out. California? Come on now. That place was ruined 20 years ago. Nobody's moving to California. Everyone's leaving California. Colorado used to be a great place to live, and now everyone I talk to hates it there.
Really?
It's overpopulated and ruined and expensive. I guess you could live on the western slope if you wanted to farm, but better learn Spanish. Connecticut?
Is he exaggerating? Like, do you really need to learn Spanish to, like, live in certain parts of Colorado? Really?
Not a chance. The only affordable here is in the ghetto. Nobody wants to move to Delaware. Florida.
Ooh, Florida.
Now, this used to be the bee's knees until a couple years ago when everyone looked around and thought, I've had enough of this place. Cost of living, insurance, HOAs. Well, folks are leaving Florida now.
But Florida's still quite an affordable place to move to, isn't it? Like, I think I saw a house there, like a nice looking house for like 350, 400K. But the area might not have been the best.
And homes are on the market longer than ever.
Really?
So I guess it might be a good deal now, right? Plus, you don't have an income tax down here.
Nice neighborhood.
The only part of Florida that I saw that's cheap is the Panhandle at this point. You can get a place in Tallahassee or Jacksonville for about $300K if you wanted something decent. They aren't too bad, actually. Kind of liked it there. Other than that, it's redneck trailer park land.
Wow.
Nothing against our redneck brothers and sisters.
Does someone actually live in this one, do you think? Like, it looks so damaged on the side here. Do you think someone's actually in here right now?
I saw some stuff up here in Bonifay that was around 150K, if that's your thing. Don't move anywhere near Atlanta. It sucks.
Really?
If you don't want to live in rural mountain land, you could try Athens or Warner Robins. Athens is a college town, and Warner Robins feels just like America. You can let the kids ride their bikes, and they won't disappear. Can't say that about a lot of America, can you? Hawaii, just...
What's wrong with Atlanta? I've heard good things about Atlanta. I've heard that, there's a big city, lots of people coming into the area, lots of new business opportunities. What's wrong with Atlanta?
No, you knew that. Idaho, here we go. We spent a week here last summer, and this might be my new favorite state. It's just super here. Everyone's sensible, it's clean, safe. Now, Boise's probably in my top 5 favorite cities I've been to, and I have some high standards, but living there is kind of all over the place. There's really expensive, and then there's affordable. You got to kind of just find what fits you. But within 30 minutes of Boise, there's all kinds of new and somewhat affordable. Twin Falls is lovely. Actually, this whole area here in southern Idaho is really nice. It's just hot, boring farmland. So keep that in mind.
Doesn't look like there's a lot going on there. This is the thing, like, it just looks maybe a bit too quiet. But I suppose if you've got a family, that's might be what you're after.
Anything in red here is affordable in Illinois. But the problem is property taxes suck in this state. I can't think of a single place in Illinois that I'd recommend moving to.
I'm guessing this bit here is Chicago.
But I know people who live in random Illinois towns, and they seem to kind of dig it, I guess. There's nothing really to get excited about here. It's Illinois. So the Indianapolis suburbs of Fishers and Zionsville and Carmel and Noblesville, those used to be a steal. But that is over a long time ago. Why anybody would want to pay $600K to live near Indy is beyond me. I can only think of one city in Indiana that's worth your time. Gary. JK.
Man, it's really flat. That's the thing about America that I've noticed, that a lot of the cities, they're not very hilly. Here, there's so many hills. So if you try and look across the horizon, you won't make it far because there's a massive hill in the way. Here, it's super flat.
It's Fort Wayne. Now you're going to be isolated up here by the Ohio border, but they got everything they need here. You can get a big old home with a big old green front yard for $300,000 in Fort Wayne. I don't think your family would love the idea, though. Just saying. Iowa. The whole state. Affordable and wonderful. Every place I saw. Okay, not Keokuk or Dubuque. But I love Des Moines. Top 10 city. No shit. It's just stupidly low for a house here. Like $250K for something decent. It's safe and fun. And no bums. Not yet, anyways.
No bums.
I made a video called I Explored 10 Small Towns in Iowa. And you should watch it. I drove through places I'd never heard of. And it was just glorious. Some part of Kansas I think you should consider are the Kansas City burbs over here. Olathe, Overland Park, Grandview. They're all everything you'd want in a suburb. And you can get into Kansas City, Missouri in no time. Kinda. It's going to run you close to $425K at this point, though. Give or take $10K.
Pricier than the other states on this list so far. This might be the most expensive one, which I'm surprised because Kansas I thought would be one of the more affordable ones because I've heard it's just a bunch of like farmland mainly in Kansas.
But hey, it's cheaper than California, right?
True.
Now, Kentucky has lots of awesome. Elizabethtown, Bowling Green, Paducah, Lexington, Frankfort. I think Kentucky's one of the most slept on states. It gets a bad reputation because of Louisville and the Eastern Hollers. But if you want a Midwestern experience with some actual mountains, well, go take a look. Western Kentucky.
When I think of Kentucky, you guys all know what I'm thinking. I'm thinking Kentucky Fried Chicken. It's just synonymous to me. When I think of Kentucky, I just think of the Colonel.
I don't think there's anywhere in Louisiana I saw that I'd recommend you move to, even though it's dirt cheap, except maybe Lafayette. It's a nice little city with a little bit of a downtown thing going on. It's not exceptional or anything, but it is cheap, like under $250K. But you'd have to become an LSU fan, though. Nobody wants that. I don't think I've ever had one person ask me about Maine. Maryland's too expensive.
Maine, I've heard there's like the best seafood in America you can get from Maine. Like a lot of the lobster comes from Maine, I think.
Massachusetts, it's probably the most expensive of all. Michigan, one of my favorite states. Now, we were just up in Detroit again, and here's an example of the Detroit burb that they think is nice. This is Royal Oak, where you can get a home for about $350K.
That is a big house. This has got to be like an 8-bedroom house. It's massive.
It's cheap because it's near Detroit. Now, I really like Grand Rapids.
But I thought Detroit had made a recovery.
Probably one of the best cities that you've never even considered. It's a fun, hip, cool beer drinking place with a bunch of mid-40-year-old hockey and soccer parents. You can get a great deal here for under $300K and have a pretty good life. Anything west of Grand Rapids, all the way to Lake Michigan, it's just small rural towns with well-mannered kids and no crime and great deer hunting.
Oh.
Minnesota's kind of like Iowa. Just about anywhere you go in the southern half of the state, it's going to be cheap and rural and safe. But it's small towns, though. Nowhere exciting. Here's an example. This is little Laverne, Minnesota. Population 5,000.
5,000, wow. I mean, population 5,000, there's a good chance you know a lot of the people in that town. Probably like you know everybody on your street.
Stuff on this street's about $275K. They're all out of jobs, and you'd have to learn to love hockey.
Learn to love hockey.
So the only part of Mississippi that I think makes sense for you would be down along the Gulf. And we went down there, and I was shocked by just how nice it was. And I was like, damn! Now, it's a certain lifestyle down here, and it's miserable for months at a time.
Why? Does it get super hot in the summers? I'm guessing it does.
Look at those prices. The whole state's cheap, but down here it's pretty nice. D'Iberville, Pass Christian, Gulfport, Ocean Springs. Be great places to retire. I don't think I'd ever recommend somebody move to Missouri. St. Louis isn't too bad a place, but the only parts you'd want to live in, you can't afford. Now, Kansas City's lovely. Downtown's wonderful. If you moved to Missouri, you'd probably want to live in a Kansas City suburb down here. A lot of it's nice. It fluctuates between middle class and holy shit, this is Missouri? Montana used to be affordable.
Looks very nice though, this one. Like this house here. I mean, this house here isn't cheap. Like, especially with this backdrop. Like, how much do you reckon this house is right now? This one here. If I had to guess, at least $500,000?
Affordable until California ruined it. There's no big city here you can afford now. Find a small town like Lewistown where you can shop at an actual grocery store. Nebraska, the entire state. There's probably only one area you'd want to live. That'd be near Omaha, which is just outstanding. Top 10 city.
I think that's where Warren Buffett lives.
I was impressed. Love it there. There is no con to living in Omaha except the weather and the isolation. Find yourself a good
Those are two big reasons, to be fair.
suburb on the fringes of Omaha, like Gretna, Bellevue, or Blair. You can get a nice home here with good schools for $325K.
Not bad.
I'm sure they'd love to have you. Just don't be a jerk. Just don't move to Nevada. There's nothing here affordable anymore. And you'd hate it anyway. New Hampshire's just too expensive.
Really? I think living near Vegas, actually, to be fair, for someone like me who had a bit of a gambling issue, it's probably not the smartest move, living near like the most famous casinos in the world.
There's no income tax, but the property taxes are a real bitch. New Jersey and New York?
Nothing.
Come on now. Ain't nobody ever asked me about moving to New Mexico. But I can say, New Mexico is just poised to blow up.
Really?
Just so damn cheap. And there's so much potential to living out in the hot desert.
Heavy sarcasm.
All New Mexico needs is just one city outside of Albuquerque to clean itself up. And I bet tons of people would flock there. But right now, that city doesn't exist.
To be fair, with the heat in the summer, he might be right. Could New Mexico become the new California? Could that happen?
North Carolina, where I live, I could tell you 20 places you would want to move here and you'd love it. Just draw a big circle around Raleigh, and anywhere in here is affordable and lovely. Raleigh is a top 10 city. Tons of jobs, tons to do, great health care, everybody's nice, it's great. Or if you want to live on this side of the state, there's a bunch of fringe mountain towns west of Charlotte, like Hendersonville and Morganton, that you might love. North Dakota? Really? It's all cheap. I would never tell anyone to move to Ohio.
This is such an interesting way that they've developed this little like suburb. Like it's surrounded by trees. You know, I'm guessing there's only sort of one big road that leads in or out. I've never seen a sort of suburb laid out like this. Like slap bang in the middle of a forest, pretty much.
But if you had to, I'd move to a Cincinnati or a Columbus suburb. They're pretty affordable, like $300K.
Quite nice though. I bet the air quality here is really good with all of these trees nearby.
Or Zanesville, maybe? I don't know. Oklahoma, where the wind comes sweeping down the plain. Tulsa and Oklahoma City are the only places anyone with any sense would move to in this state.
Really?
Tulsa's actually getting a lot better, and there's some deals to be had here. Most of the Oklahoma suburbs like Norman, Moore, and Edmond, they're great. You could look up around here for about $300K and live a nice, safe life. Oregon's ruined and way too expensive. Maybe Baker City, but it's way out in the desert.
Has Portland, Oregon started to turn around? I used to hear that it was, pretty bad, like a lot of crime. Has it gotten any better? Or was that just a generalization in the first place? Is there nothing wrong with Portland, Oregon?
I've heard good things about Baker City. Haven't seen it. And it's only $250K to live out here. So Pennsylvania is one of those states where you're way better off living away from the big cities. There are just too many smaller towns to name here, but rural PA is the way to go. Find yourself a small little town outside of Harrisburg, like Little Mannheim here, which is close enough to a job center. You'd pay about $350K for something like this, out next to the countryside.
The country.
Or maybe Williamsport or College Station. Can't go wrong there. Nobody wants to move to Rhode Island. If you have to, just find a Providence suburb that you can afford. That's it, really. It's really nice. You just have to find your price point here.
Yeah, I've heard Rhode Island is very expensive because it's small.
Did you know Rhode Island has never voted for a Republican president?
No, I didn't know that, Mappy. But maybe that's why nobody wants to live there.
I think someone needs to do a recount for every single Rhode Island election. I bet they're hiding something up there.
Well, I think that's just stupid. And we need to get off politics anyway, because this is about real estate. Bye, Mappy.
What the heck
I'm a
was
big
that?
fan of Greenville, South Carolina. Woo! Top 10 city. It's wonderful here.
And I've also heard the barbecue in South Carolina is immense.
And still affordable-ish. There are a lot of nice suburbs around here with home prices in the high 200,000s. I think that's your best bet. Now, if you want the city life, there's some burbs near Charlotte, like Rock Hill and Fort Mill, that you can still get a deal on. The rest of the state is just poor farm towns and the coast. And you can't afford the coast.
How much would a property be on the coast? I'm guessing out of the $350,000 range, up near $500,000 more.
You want to move to South Dakota? Really? Well, there's only two places in the state you'd want to live. The far west side or the far east side of the state. Rapid City over here feels way more western. Everybody has a damn horse out here. It's about $350K for a house anywhere around there. Sioux Falls is cheaper. I like Sioux Falls a lot. Real nifty little city where people make sense. And it's clean and no bums. For 500 miles, you can get a
Clean and no bums.
house here for about $300.
Oh,
And no
God.
income tax either.
Yeah, the no income tax states would be really attractive to me. Just to not have to pay, after paying so much tax here, to go to a state where I'm only paying federal taxes would be just like, it would be such a, because here we get taxed so much. Like if you make, let's say, £100,000, you are probably only taking home about maybe 58K. Maybe 60 out of that. It's insane. You get taxed a lot.
Now, Tennessee has blown up. The only real sensible place in Tennessee for the budget conscious like you would be in East Central Tennessee, right here. Lots of small towny, rolling, hilly type of stuff that's in the 250K range. I know. And then there's Chattanooga. Now that's one of the most improved cities I've ever seen. It's all hip and cool and fun and clean now. And there's outdoor shit all over the place. It was super cheap here, but now it's pushing like $325, $350 here now.
It's creeping up.
It's the last nice big city in Tennessee that's not ruined.
When he says ruined, what does he mean? Like overrun with crime sort of thing? Like, what does he mean by that?
I've been sent to spread the message. God bless Texas. Texas?
Aha.
Who wants to move to Texas? Well, Fort Worth, without a doubt. Top 10 city. The home prices around here, they were shooting through the roof. But then a lot of people decided, you know what? Enough is enough. Texas is too crowded and expensive now. So home prices have stopped growing here.
Interesting.
I didn't see a part of Fort Worth I didn't like. The average home price is about $300.
Another big house. I mean, here in England, this would most definitely be split in two. Like, you could probably get two 3 to 4 bed semi-detached houses out of this. This looks like a massive house.
$125K. Now, as for the rest of Texas, I guess New Braunfels or San Marcos, you can consider those places. They're still nice and not too expensive. That's pretty much it. The rest of Texas is too rich for your blood or plumb lousy. Don't move to Utah. It's expensive, and you'd hate it there anyways. Same thing with Vermont. I can't think of anywhere in Virginia that's affordable, that's worth living in anymore, except maybe Virginia Beach. And Washington, it's way too expensive.
Wow, man. Are these homeless people just camping out in a park? Whew.
Been ruined now. West Virginia. If you've got the itch, pick anywhere up here in the Panhandle within a 30-minute drive of Martinsburg. It's actually nice up here, and most stuff is close to $300,000. But it is moving fast up here. It turns out it's now hip and cool to live in the West Virginia Panhandle and drive into D.C. for work every day. Can you imagine? Now I love Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
You can pick anywhere here.
Or I think people from Wisconsin pronounce it Sconsin, don't they? The Wis just gets left out, right?
From Milwaukee north and feel like you're getting ahead in life. Too many places to pick from. All big Wisconsin cities are a little slice of peachy keen American values, and all at an affordable price. And no, they did not pay me to say that. I wish they did. And finally, Wyoming. Wyoming's actually a lot less affordable than it used to be. Now, I saw what's worth seeing here for the purposes of reporting back to you people. And you know me, I'm a sucker for cowboy crap and small towns and conservative values. But sadly, there's nowhere here I can recommend you drag your family to, even if you have a damn horse. And if you do have a horse, move to Tennessee. Are you looking to move and need advice? I do consulting. That's right. I'll sit down and talk about where the next perfect place for you and your family.
Interesting video. It seemed like out of the states, maybe this might be biased because of the videos I've seen already about property in America, but Texas, with the size of the state and the fact that he said that the prices have stopped growing, and with the fact that there's three big, huge cities in Houston, Dallas, and Austin, and there's also San Antonio as well, you know, makes me think that that would be, and the no state income tax, I think there's no state income tax in Texas, provide probably, if I was to move, would probably be the best choice. Maybe there's other states, but that one seems the most obvious to me. Let me know if you think there's other states that I should think about. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.